Hello, I'm Mr. Pibbles, and welcome to the Pibbleville Family Fun Park. This is the park we've been working on in our wonderful little challenge series, and today, well, we're going on a tour. So, the way that this is going to work is we'll take a bit of a wander around, we'll have a look at every little area, we'll possibly have a little bit of a reminisce, but we won't actually go on any of the rides. I'm going to save that for their own sort of independent videos, and so we can have we can spend more time on them basically. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in. Now I actually thought about this and I have pre-booked, so we are just going to head on through here to our opening plaza. Now I remember when we made this all the way back in episode 1, and there wasn't much here at the start. And, well, now we've got everything, including our staff area there, this wonderful lake over here, and we've got our fountain there, and the ever so wonderful HMS Victorious over there. And, you know, looking back, it has been so long since we've actually sort of come around here and had a look, and I just think that the way that this all looks from here, it's just wonderful. So, where should we go next? Well, I think next we should head on down this way, and then we will sort of loop around, I think, and then we can come back up that way. So, coming down this way, this was sort of the second area that we ended up building, which isn't really an area per se, but we started off with our slippery slope here as one of our very first rides, the second ride I believe, which was then followed by the wonderful little Windy Miller there, which is wonderful. And then coming up this way into the crowd, we have the fan favourite over here, the Barnstormer, and I really love the way that this looks. Did I possibly go a bit ham on the theming for the very first ride, well, the very first roller coaster? Quite possibly, but can you blame me? It was absolutely wonderful, and I remember having a bit of a talk through this, and it's still rather popular, and yeah, so stay tuned, and the POV for that will be out in a couple of days. And then across from it, of course, we've got the airfield snacks, which I do like the look of that building. It's quite wonderful. I do enjoy it. And I think we're going to save that for now, as actually I'm thinking we will go in chronological order, which is quite fun. So we will pop all the way back down here, and we will head the other way from the from our main hub here, and we will head towards this way, where we have the backside of that lake, which is quite fun. And then we have our Hypno Spinner here, which is quite fun. I like the way that this looks. I like the theming behind it. It's just rather silly, but I like it. And then coming over here, I believe this was called something like the Sky Jumper or something like that. And I like the way that it looks. So I'm actually going to pop here momentarily so we can see it go up and down, because it's very simple, but I like the theming on it. I like the clouds and everything, and you can see the rocket ships going up and down, and off it goes. Excellent. And then following on down here, of course, we've got the Pibbleville karting circuit. I really like this area of the park. It's small. Well, no one really comes here. I don't know why. People just don't seem to like go-karts in this game, which isn't fun. There's litter and stuff, but at the end of the day, nobody's really using it, so oh well. And we've got our ever so wonderful custom billboards that I made to advertise bits and pieces. Like we've got the wonderful Conass over there. We've got Fatta Imana Italiana. Over there we've got the Silver Fox Sanctuary and JMC Leather. Now I remember kind of coming in building those, and that was all very fun, just because it was a little bit silly to come in and go, okay, who would be some real fictional businesses in this world? So that's all fun stuff. And then we will pop back down under the rocking arm of the Victorious, which there are people on. That's wonderful. To pop down here. And why not? We will sort all of this out before we move over that way. So obviously here we have the Timothy Jensen's Historic Carousel, and that's obviously tying back into the backstory I came up for bits and pieces of the park that kind of tied into the gardens and the ruins and everything. And so if you want to have a look at that, that's there. And then across from this we've got Spook Manor, which is our sort of take on a classic haunted house. And does anybody ride it? I don't know, but I really, really like the look of it. It was quite fun sort of coming in, making an eclectic mix of slightly spooky scenes and seeing what we can do with it. Now, leaving that all, it is time to come over for the pirate area, where we've got our shipwrecker. That's our sort of magic carpet styled ride there, that's themed to the shipwreck and the sail and splash, which again nobody's on. Well, people are on, but they can't get off. But anyway, so then popping further over this way, we've got our pirate pub, which people seem to enjoy, which is good. Is the interior a little bit eclectic and bare? Yes, but ah well. And then we'll pop all the way down here to come over to, as it flies overhead, Sakura, and the little area that this surrounds. This is our Vekoma Boomerang, and I do really like the look of this area. I remember kind of first coming in and building it and going, okay, let's just build it and see where we can go with the theming, and then the theming just really took off, and I just like the way that it looks. If I'm being completely honest, let's watch it go back through the station. Ooh. Oh yeah, no, I forgot it dives over the station. Whoops. Silly me, not even knowing my own rides. Ah well. Well, the next thing after this, coincidentally, that we created is over this way. Now if we pop up through here, and instead of going that way, which is very barren, we will go... Actually, they are going that way. We will pop this way to come round the back of everything, through the forest, and make our way over to the backside of this area to get to our wonderful swimming pool, the Splash Landings. So we've got our coaster there, the splash boating, but we will look at that in a sec, because first we need to come through here to Splash Landings. And I think we are going to head this way, where we've got all of these bits and pieces. And actually, what we will do, I think, is we will pop up here to our little cafe area, and we will just stand here and look over. It's a very eclectic pool. It's small as well, but we've got a nice little clock. And we've got all of that, which is fun. Now let's pop back round this way. Actually, I wonder, hang on. Can I cannot... Damn, I cannot jump into the pool from here. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to pop around to the staff area, and I'm just going to spadosh to come over to here, where we've got our little child's kind of splash pad pool. I hope that they add integrations for that in the future, because if they do, I will come back and I will sort of do some fixes and some updates. And obviously we've got our length swimming pool there, but these are the main events here. We've got our wave pool with our lazy river, and then popping up over the top we've got our flumes, which is wonderful. We've got our raft flume there, which goes around the outside. We've got our 2 straight flumes and our plug hole, which is quite fun. So popping it back out this way, we will run all the way down here, and then we will come back out this side, and we can go out and have a very quick look at splash boating. Again, I really like the way that this looks. Actually, what I'm going to do is I know I've not done this for any of the other rides so far, but we are going to pop up this way, and I am actually going to take us into the station building because I really like the station building for this. I think this just fits the vibe with all the boats and the shipbuilding and stuff, and I think it just looks really nice. So popping back down this way, let's just watch that go past, and splash. Wonderful. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back down here, and I think we're going to head this way. And we're going to head over to the gardens, I think, which could be quite nice. So we're just going to take a leisurely stroll, I think. Obviously, it is wonderful how many people we've got in the park now. It is a bit crowded, but you know, it is nice. So we'll come back down here. Obviously, we've got our coffee shop that we made early on, which is quite fun. And we're going to pop over here. We're going to start off with the Mediterranean garden. And these gardens, I really like the way that they look. Kind of the fact that everything sort of came together to create these nice little dioramas of sort of historical gardens is quite nice. And then here we have the tropical garden with my jumping fountains. I'm very happy with the jumping fountains. Jumping fountains are always a joy, so getting them in is wonderful. We've got the Pibbleville maze here with our wonderful sort of maze and everything to do with that. Possibly need some bins in here. That's a slight oversight on my part, but oh well. Anyway, if we can find our way out of the maze, and then we will come back this way and we will head through to the Tiger Garden. Obviously this is much the same, but we've got the Tiger Garden Ferris wheel here, historic Ferris wheel, if you will remember back, and I really like the way that the sort of sign looks on that with the light up letters and stuff, which is wonderful. Now before we head through that way, I am just going to pop out here to come round on a quick detour to the back of Spook Manor to get to the Spook Garage, which is the Dodgems ride, which does appear to be broken down. That's wonderful. So while that's there, we will come through here. And this is our Roman garden with the teacups and all of our ruins, which is quite fun. Again, these ruins, I like them. They're very much something inspired by real ruins, but sort of taking my own spin on them, which is really nice. And that, of course, leads up to the Pibbleville, which is our wonderful little Roman villa. And I like the way that this looks on the inside. There are some wonderful bits and pieces over here. And, for example, we've got the miniature railway here, the scenic railway. That I really like the look of that building, but that is not the main event here. The main event is Roman Racer, our wonderful wooden roller coaster. And we will, once again, come through the queue of this, because I really like the queue because of this element here. And we have... I have no idea where... There we are. So we will pop up here and pop through here. And I really like the station building for this. It's simple, but I think it's effective with the way that sort of it looks and the signs and all of the lighting. It just looks quite nice. And we will immediately just fall. Wonderful. And then obviously we've got our photo booth here, which is nice. So, I believe that leaves us with a couple of places to still head. So we're going to head in the direction of these places. So, it's fun. You think I'd need an own map for my theme park. But we will pop out this way to get to our wonderful fantasy area. And obviously we've got our little market here, which I like the look of, alongside that building at the back. And sort of the facade of all of that is wonderful. Then we've got Millstone there, our scissor type ride that spins, which is quite fun. And we will head through the worm mine in a sec, but we've got our nice little pieces of set dressing over this way, leading towards Joust, our spinning coaster. And I do like Joust. It is a funny little coaster, and I think it works well enough for what it is. And sort of, I know it loses the whole charm a little bit because you can't sit here and watch them go down and around like you would with something say a Virginia Reel, but I think it works. I do like the look of it. And now, before we head to our final area, which we have created over the last couple of episodes, we are going to pop through our lovely Victorian village. I am really happy that people actually use this. It's wonderful to see people actually wandering around this lovely little kind of diorama town, and yeah, the Victorian town. And again, I just really like the way that it looks. Sort of, you look at it from this angle and it sort of all comes together to look really nice. Now we've got our staff facilities over here. We don't need to necessarily have a look at them, so instead we are going to pop through here, and we are we will pop through here because I want to go through Worm Mine, because I always like a trip to Worm Mine. So coming through here, enter at your own risk. Ooh. And instead of just going straight down, we're going to take the scenic path, which nobody takes, to come down to our sleeping dragon here in the mines. And we will... Oh, no, somebody is taking this path. Wonderful. How does it feel? Oh, okay. I feel ignored. Anyway, we will come down here and come out the other side to find ourselves in our Wild West area, and we will pop back this way in a sec, but we will start off coming down this way to see Balloonists, which was the first flat ride we put in this area. I like the way that it looks. Sort of using the Coriolis to build these hot air balloons looks really nice. Then coming round this way, we've got our main street here with the jailhouse, our root beer and ribeye stands, and the hotel, which is quite fun. And then round the back, obviously we've got our little dioramas back here, which is quite nice, and we can get a better view of Balloonists. But the reason you'd come back here is for the saloon, so we will head into the saloon now. And again, you can see how this looks. It's quite dark. The interior is a bit less decorated than usual, but I think it looks quite nice. And then popping out here, we can come into the lumber mill area, and we can have a look around. And I really like this lumber mill. I think it works well as an area. And we've got our off the rails here, our wonderful sort of ride that's an homage back to the first Planet Coaster, which is quite wonderful in the way that it's spinning and all of that. And we've got our White Water Logging Company, so I will take us through the queue line for this very quickly. So coming up through here, I like the way that this queue sort of snakes its way through the hills and through sort of the mountainous area to sort of bring us up to the level where all of the rafts are. And again, you can see it here. This is quite fun in the way that it works. I just wish there were more people coming on it so that it did have the desired effect of looking like it does sort of ferry people around. But we are just gonna pop down here and come round and round and round And there we go, we're back down on the ground. Which leaves us with one thing to have a look at, and that is this wonderful ride going around the park and going around this area. And that is Dynamite Mine. I really like the way that it sort of has made its way into this whole area as this sort of big sprawling thing, because it wasn't originally going to be this large, but it sort of ended up being this massive thing that sort of just works really well for what it is, which is wonderful. Actually, I am going to pop here and we'll watch it go over there, because I really like this element of the sort of sidewinder going around the bridge, which is wonderful. And I suppose once again we will take a look at the queue line for Dynamite Mine, which is full, which is something I wasn't expecting, but there we go. Let's work our way through the people and work our way back up through the masses of people, hoping that the lag doesn't kill us. And here we are in the station building, which is all wonderful stuff. But yeah, actually we can stand here on the staff path and look out over the area, which is wonderful. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out of that camera and we're back at the start of the park. So do watch out over the next couple of days for some POVs coming out for all of our tracked rides and roller coasters. And yeah, we will just take a bit of a fly over the park. As I tell you too, please, if you have enjoyed not only this park, but also, well, not only this video, but also this park, then please do feel free to like, feel free to comment, feel free to subscribe, and please stay tuned. I know that this is the end of one series, but the end of one series will be the start of another, as we are looking at coming in and creating a brand new park within time. So we'll take possibly a couple of weeks off from Planet Coaster before I come in and I theme a brand new park. So yeah, if you have enjoyed, please like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next episode. Ta-ta! Let's roll that outro.